President Emmerson Mnangagwa has, according to subsection 3 of section 187 of the Constitution, appointed a 3-member tribunal which will be chaired by retired Judge Simbiwe Kembako to inquire into the allegations against Justice Martin Makonese and to determine his suitability to hold the top judicial office. The other members of the tribunal are Gift Manyetera and Philippa Magnify Phillips, who will look into the allegation that Makonese issued an order in a commercial dispute in which he allegedly had financial interest.
Whereas subsection 1 of section 187 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe provides that from office only for inability to perform the functions of his or her office due to mental or physical incapacity, gross incompetence, or gross misconduct. And whereas subsection 3 of section 187 of the Constitution provides that if the Judicial Service Commission advises the President that the person of removing a judge from office ought to be investigated, the President must appoint a tribunal to inquire into the matter. And whereas the Judicial Service Commission, by a letter dated 9th March 2023, formally advised the President that the question of removal from office of the Honorable Mr. Justice Martin Makonese ought to be investigated. And whereas the President, acting in terms of subsection 3 of section 187, has seen it fit and proper to appoint retired Judge Simbiwe Kembako as chairperson of the tribunal to investigate the person of removal from office of Honorable Mr. Justice Martin Makonese. Now, therefore, I, Emmerson Mnangagwa, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, by virtue of the powers vested in me, do call upon you, retired Justice Simbiwe Kembako, to take the oath of office. Subsection 1 of section 187 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe provides that a judge may be removed from office only for inability to perform the functions of his or her office due to mental or physical incapacity, gross incompetence, or gross misconduct. And whereas subsection 3 of the section 187 of the Constitution provides that if the Judicial Service Commission advises the President that the question of removing a judge from office ought to be investigated, the President must appoint a tribunal to inquire into the matter. And whereas the Judicial Service Commission, by letter dated 9 March 2023, formally advised the President that the question of removal from office of the Honorable Justice Martin Makonese ought to be investigated. And whereas the President, acting in terms of subsection 3 or subsection 187, has seen it fit and proper to appoint Gift Manyetera and the Philippa Magnify Phillips as members of the tribunal set up to investigate the question of removal from office of the Honorable Mr. Justice Martin Makonese. And therefore, I, Emmerson Mnangagwa, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, by virtue of the powers vested in me, do call upon you, Gift Manyetera and the Philippa Magnify Phillips, to take the oaths of office.
Speaking to the press, Mobako said the tribunal was necessary so as to maintain and restore the integrity of the institution. He went on to say they haven't started their work yet, but each case will take about 2 months and will continue even if there is no cooperation from either party.
Well, it is indeed. It is alarming, but we have to accept it as it is, and do the work, to keep the institution as smooth as possible, working as smoothly as possible, and to maintain the integrity of the whole institution is important.
When are you expecting to report back?
Well, we haven't started yet. We haven't looked at the extent of the work that is involved, but usually these things happen within a month or so. As you know, I've had some other commissions earlier on, and in each case, we took about a month or 2 months
To finish?
to finish. Yes.
Whether there is cooperation or no cooperation, you still go on with your work.
Well, yes, there are ways of carrying on in the judicial system, in the legal system. Whether there is cooperation from the other side or not, there are ways of doing it.
Permanent Secretary for Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Virginia Mabiza, said they are concerned by the frequency of these tribunals, which have seen 4 judges to date leaving office through tribunals. Mabiza also said the appointment process of judges needs to be revised, which is bringing in the new crop of immoral judges.
We are very worried about the frequency of the tribunals because what it shows is that something needs to be done to improve the integrity of the judges. You may recall or you may be aware that to date we have seen 4 judges leaving office through tribunals. My opinion is perhaps the appointment process. You may be aware that in the past the president would appoint judges after considering a number of factors, including integrity, honesty, and all those other virtues. But the new system of interviews, unfortunately, seems to be bringing on board people who are not quite of good integrity. I'm not saying they are not of good integrity, but one can make that conclusion as you see the frequency with which judges are coming for tribunals. So this is what is happening, and it's quite worrying. Precisely, it is an issue which may perhaps be taken to the people, since our constitution is people-driven, and we may also want to hear views from the sector, from the justice sector, as to whether or not we should revert to the old process.
You think the old process was more thorough?
In my view, yes. It was more thorough in the sense that most of the judges who were picked by the old procedure were tried and tested. Most of them were senior civil servants, having served with integrity and with a lot of knowledge on the subject matter. So I think it was more, useful, and it served the purpose. That
Yes, you have spoken about, but Bulawayo is small compared to Harare. But it appears as though 2 of these judges, or if not 3, were working in Bulawayo. Could there be something?
It's actually 2 are from Bulawayo, yes, including the current judge for whom we set a tribunal today. There was also Justice Mabiko. From Harare, we saw 2 judges, actually 3 judges. We saw Justice Bere, we also saw Justice Ndewere, and Justice Mushore, who just absconded and not turn up for work. Those are also acts that are not expected of the office of a judge. We expect more from judges rather than such conduct.
Many tribunals have been appointed to curb the problem of misconduct of office, which has raised alarm, if either the problem is with the selection process. Reporting for HSTV News and Current Affairs, Joyce Tigiti.